Happy Friday Eve day to everybody. I'm so excited to see you. I know I was not live last week. I needed a break after the live masterclasses and all the things I had going on at the end of January. So I am here, ready, refreshed, and excited about our guest expert today. As usual, we've got Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube right here on my laptop. If you're coming to us through Facebook, please hop over to streamyard.com/Facebook. Go there real fast. Open up a tab on your browser so you don't lose us. Go there real fast. Give StreamYard and Facebook permission to talk to each other and to show your name so that if you ask a question, Kelly and I know who we're talking to and we can get your questions answered. LinkedIn, just pop your questions in the comments and I will get those to Kelly and we can get those answered for you. YouTubers do the same thing. And if you're on YouTube, smash the subscribe button so you never miss a thing. I come live every week on YouTube to give you valuable content. Okay, my guest expert, can I just say how excited I am? I've been thinking about this all week. Get your questions ready. If you have a podcast on your mind for your business this year, and I'm telling you, when you hear from Kelly, you're going to want to put this on your plan. It is something that can literally change the trajectory of your business. Kelly Smith is in the house. I want you all to give her a warm welcome. I'm going to introduce her here in just a second. But at first, I want to introduce myself. In case we're new to each other, I'm Tracy Beavers. I am your business and sales coach. And I have almost 20 years of experience, actually now over 20 years of experience. Oh my gosh, when did I get this old? Over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. And I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you get visible so you can grow your audience, grow your email list, and get consistent monthly income without paid ads. You can gain the income you want and grow your email list with ease. And when you coach with me, you're going to get a clear roadmap of action steps, all laid out, easy to follow with strategies you've never thought of before. And you're going to know exactly what to do every single day to get to your goals together. Every strategy that I teach, everything we do, all roads lead to email list growth, and that leads to your income. So I teach you my visibility strategies. We get your email list going, and it's off to the races. I provide one-to-one private coaching, and I want to tell you I only have one spot left for private one-to-one coaching, and it starts in March. So if you're considering hiring a coach in the next few months, reach out. Let's see if we're a good fit for each other. Let me hear what you got on your mind and see if that's the right answer. My private clients have launches going on right now. We are in full pre-launch mode, mapping out their activities, crafting their lead magnets, fine-tuning their marketing. It is such an exciting time. If you want to achieve your big, scary income goals and have somebody like me walk alongside you through all the scary parts, then let's connect. The 8-week group coaching program, Business Visibility Made Easy, you've heard a lot about it in the last few weeks. It opened this past Monday. We had our first live Q&A call today, and I am so excited for these students. They are in it, they are on fire, and they're doing the work needed to grow their email list. And if you want to be in the next round, which will open up in late April, get on the wait list. Go to tracybeavers.com/BVME. And it will redirect you to the wait list where you can put in your email address and get on that. And again, pop over to streamyard.com/Facebook and give permission for StreamYard to see your name. And if you're catching this on replay, you know you can post your questions for Kelly in the comments, and I will see those, and then I can always loop Kelly back in to get clarification on any of your questions. So let's dive in. Let me introduce my friend and our guest expert, Kelly Smith. You're going to love her as much as I do. We met last fall when she asked me to be a guest on her podcast. And after getting to know her better and hearing what an amazing expert she is, and fun fact, some of the people that when I posted about this about her being the best guest expert, several people commented and said, she's the reason why I have a podcast. So Kelly, hopefully some of your fans and students have shown up here today.
That'd be awesome.
Angela Kelly Smith is the host of the podcast Launchpad. She's co-host of the Geek Girl Soup podcast. Try to say that fast. And the founder of Women Podcasters Academy and the membership that goes along with that. She's the author of an Amazon best-selling book, The Podcast Launch Playbook. If you don't have that book, you need to grab it. And with more than 20 years of experience, just like me, she helps women entrepreneurs use podcasting as a marketing tool to boost their authority, expand their audience, and get more clients. Kelly, is there anything you want to add that I did not already mention?
That sounds great. So the podcast that I interviewed you on was the Marketing Chat podcast,
Okay.
and I'm phasing it out because at that point I didn't have Podcast Launchpad, and I started it since then. It started in October. As it sounds like, it is specifically to help people, mostly women entrepreneurs, get into podcasting as a marketing tool for their business. And so the Marketing Chat podcast doesn't really serve me or my business anymore. So I'm phasing it out. I have a few more interviews left to post there, but
Got it.
yeah. But
Got it.
you were an awesome guest. Oh my God.
Okay.
You shared about using DMs or having authentic
Mhm.
conversations in DMs.
Yeah.
And it was so good. Yeah, it
Oh,
was a
thanks.
popular episode.
Thank you. That is so kind. And you guys, I might be the most excited person in the room today because I've got a podcast on my vision board for my business. I actually intended to launch my podcast last year, but I decided a few other things needed to take priority. And this quarter, there's some things that need to take priority before I do anything new like that. But I've got this on my vision and on my horizon. And so I am so excited to have her here to answer my questions selfishly and yours too. So I want to know in the comments, you guys comment, do you have a podcast? And if so, when did you launch it? What's the name of it? How's it going? If you don't have one, are you planning one for your business? I think Kelly would like to know that as well.
Mhm.
And of course, ask all of your questions while we've got her here, because I know she loves to be of service. And we're going to answer all your questions after I get Kelly interviewed and we finish the interview and the training. Then I'll pop over and see what your questions are. So, Kelly, let's start with this. What makes podcasting special compared to other media, like using a blog or live video or even a YouTube channel? Like, what's the big deal about podcasting?
Right. So the number one thing is that podcasting is currently the only long form content that people are consuming online.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that people spend only seconds scanning a blog. We open it up as content creators, we put our hearts into writing a blog post, right?
Yes.
They're really long. We add images in there. We spend all this time writing them, unless you're using Chat GPT at this point to write them. But
Right.
anyway, we put our hearts into them. And people spend only seconds scanning through to find exactly what they're looking for. They
Mhm.
aren't reading the whole thing.
Got
With
it.
videos, with informational videos, they're fast forwarding through them to find what they're looking for.
Yeah.
But with a podcast, no
Mhm.
matter how long it is, 80% of podcast listeners are listening to 80% or more of the episode. Again,
Really?
yes, no matter how
People
long
have
it is.
no matter, oh, that is okay. Say that again. That is fascinating because that I would not have thought that.
I know. Now, the preferred length for an episode is 20 to 40 minutes, but they'll
Okay.
still listen when it's an hour long.
My
So 80% of podcast listeners
Okay.
are listening to 80% or more
Mhm.
of the episodes.
Okay. So what you're saying is the reason why it's more impactful than a live video or a blog or a social media post is because that what you just said, that statistic about how they're 80% of them are listening to 80% or more,
Right.
whereas they may not see our social media post,
Right.
they may not catch our live video, and they're skimmers, so
Right.
they may not be reading our emails or our blogs or anything. Okay,
Right.
got it.
But when they put on a podcast episode, they are sticking around. They're taking it in.
Interesting. Well,
So the second reason that podcasts are special is
mhm,
related to that first reason, that
okay.
they're listening to long form.
Mhm.
Why they're listening is because they're multitasking. They aren't tethered to their screens like
Right,
they have to be with
right.
video or reading a blog.
Yes.
So now, do we want them multitasking? Well, ideally, we want them to really take in what we're
Mhm,
saying,
mhm.
but they are, they're keeping it on. People don't know what they don't know, right?
True.
And so when they're scanning a blog, they're often looking for a specific thing. It's
Okay.
almost like confirmation bias.
Okay.
When they're listening to 80% or more of a podcast episode,
Mhm.
they're taking in things that they didn't know that
Mhm.
they didn't know.
Yeah.
So they're getting new information.
Mhm.
So when are podcast listeners listening to episodes?
Mhm.
The number one time that they're listening is when doing household chores.
Yes.
They're also listening while commuting or walking the cat, walking the dog. Okay, I'm a cat person. Um,
I love it.
so
Yeah, I listen while I'm walking the dog, while
yeah,
I'm exercising, when I'm lifting my weights,
yes,
when I am basically, whenever I am not in front of my computer or in front of the
yes.
TV.
Exactly.
That's
So
something in
that
my
multitasking that they're doing,
Mhm.
it's not like they are listening while watching a show or
Right.
listening while surfing the net. I mean,
Or
some people
writing an
may
essay.
be.
Like
Exactly.
my son has the gift of doing that. Maybe it's the young brain, but my gosh, he would sit here at the kitchen table in high school listening to Joe Rogan and writing an essay that was absolutely beautiful. I'm like,
Right.
how do you do that? So
Right.
yeah, no, you're correct. The multitasking they're doing is sort of not requiring their brain.
Exactly. So their
Correct.
brain can focus on the content that we're sharing in
Mhm.
the podcast, and that's beautiful.
Got it.
And so then the third thing that makes podcasts special, and
Mhm.
this is special compared to a blog, this is not special compared to video.
Mhm.
Listeners can hear your voice and
Yes.
come to know your personality.
Yes.
It is almost impossible to get
Mhm.
your personality through in a blog, no matter how good your writing is.
Mhm.
And if you've started to use Chat GPT or something else to create your blog posts,
Right.
your personality, your voice, they're not coming through at all.
Mm-mm. They're
Yes, you can tweak the AI generated text
right.
to try to get your voice in there,
Right.
but it's not you.
It's
It's
not.
AI.
You're correct. I played around with ChatGPT, and I'm impressed with it
Yep,
as sort of a launching start framework piece, but
right.
then you're exactly right, it's missing the human element, and the reason what you just said, the reason why I love live video so much is because it you can hear my voice, you can see me, you can get to know my goofy personality, but then the next best thing is audio for that
Yes.
for what you're just saying, because there's so much nuance in our communication that is missed because you can't hear their voice.
Right.
You know, the voice just
Exactly.
there's the inflection, and then there's the, what word are they emphasizing, and is she being funny, or like they'll read something
Right.
and go, wait a minute, is she being serious? I don't know.
Exactly. In a blog, you can't tell that. You
Not
know,
unless you
on
put a big smiley face emoji in.
right. Right. You
Yeah.
have to use all these emojis these days. Or, I'll use when I was keeping up my blog, I would use exclamation points or, I'd even then put in parentheses just teasing or
Right.
whatever. Or,
Right.
and in the podcast, people can hear your emotions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't have to say, "I'm really angry about this," even though, you do to make it very clear, but
Right.
people can tell by, like you just said, your inflections, and
Mhm.
you want to put your full personality and your full emotions in there because you
Mhm.
want to build that know, like, trust factor. You
Right.
want people to get to know you, and I will get to why in just a minute.
Yes. Okay. So you sold me on having a podcast and turning my some of my energy and my time toward that more than worrying so much about my blog and other things. So if I decided to do my podcast, what are the benefits to me? I know we've already talked about some of them, deepening that
Mhm.
know, like, and trust factor, but tell us, what are more of the benefits that maybe we haven't thought of?
Right. So I've got 5 for you. I'll
Oh,
go through them
good.
fairly quickly.
Okay.
So, first, you increase your brand awareness. You
Okay.
are getting your name out there, and if your business goes by a different name, you're getting that name out there. You can mention your products and services in your podcast, so you're getting the names of those out there. So it's really getting people to know you. It's getting that
Mhm.
name recognition out there. Now, this
Mhm.
happens over time, of course. This is not just a light bulb thing happening. I launched my podcast today, and all of a sudden everything
Right now
lights
I'm
up for
famous.
you. Right. Exactly.
Right now
Exactly.
Oprah's calling. Right.
Exactly.
That's not gonna happen. Okay.
Takes time,
Right.
but it's very valuable and very worth it.
Awesome.
So the second thing, and this is huge, is it helps you become a go-to expert in your field and a thought leader in your field.
Okay.
And this is particularly, when you're sharing information in your podcast, when your podcast is supporting your business.
Yeah.
So you are sharing your expertise, you are becoming a subject matter expert.
Uh-huh.
You are sharing knowledge in a way that people are also getting to know your personality,
Okay.
which really drives home your expertise.
Mhm.
Again, I'll refer back to the blog because anyone could write that same blog post, right?
That's a good point. And
But
back to the Chat GPT thing,
exactly.
there's that's the thing that's gonna blow my mind in marketing in the next year or so. When I'm reading things, I'm gonna be like, "Hmm, did they write this or did Google write this or
Exactly.
ChatGPT or Canva even has an AI feature now."
Yes.
So, yeah, but I
Yes.
interrupted you. Go ahead, though.
No, no, no. That's a
Super impressive.
great point.
Oh,
It's hard to tell already
mhm.
who wrote those blog posts or
Yeah.
what wrote them, and you can even hire content creators, copywriters to write the
Oh,
blog
that's
for
good.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I have no problem with that. I prefer people to do our writing for us. And
Yes, me too.
that could change. I'm a purist because I'm precious about my writing. I
Right,
really, really enjoy writing. And I
right,
understand that lots of people don't. So
right,
I am not dissing using Chat GPT as a
right,
prompt, to get you started. So
right, right.
yeah.
One thing you mentioned there was you are the subject matter expert and you're showcasing your knowledge. And what occurred to me was I teach people how to promote without promoting.
Yeah.
And this is an exact example, exact example.
Yeah.
This is an example of promoting without promoting because when you're on your podcast and you're sharing your knowledge, you're not saying, I'm the best, I'm the best coach ever. Hire me, buy my stuff. What you're saying is, did you know this about email list growth? Did you know this about social media marketing? Did you know about this trick on Canva or whatever?
Right.
And people over time, am I right in thinking that they're going to be like, okay, this chick knows what she's doing?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
It shortens the sales cycle
I like it.
because when you become a subject matter expert
Hmm.
and your podcast is supporting your business,
Hmm.
when people reach out about working with you and you have that sales call with them,
Hmm.
they come to you saying, I feel like I know you. I listened to your podcast.
Yeah.
I already know you.
Yeah.
They don't have so many questions for you. They are
Mm.
pre-sold on working with you.
I like it.
You get to spend the sales call asking them questions.
And deepening the connect. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a really good point.
Yep.
It's
It's
almost like they're already it's almost like it's not a cold call anymore.
oh, they
It's
want to say yes to you.
yeah, yeah.
They want to say yes. It
Cool.
doesn't mean it's an automatic yes.
Right,
There are things that can happen,
right.
but they are getting in touch wanting to say yes.
Yeah, and they're already warm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Very
I
warm
like that.
from
Okay.
knowing you from your podcast because they feel like they know you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
So, the third benefit of having your own podcast
Mhm.
as an entrepreneur is you are expanding your audience.
Yes.
So, one audience that you're finally reaching is those people who want to listen and not read or watch, read blogs or watch videos. And
Mhm,
that audience is growing all the time. So,
mhm.
in 2021, 28% of the US population was listening to podcasts on a weekly basis,
Uh-huh.
and in 2022, that went up to 32%,
Okay. That's a lot,
and that's on a weekly
and
basis,
that's just the US population.
just the US, and the percentage of Americans listening to podcasts at all is around 78 or 80%.
Holy mackerel.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
And that's just
massive.
the US.
Right.
And podcasting is global. That's one of the
Right.
things I find so cool about it is I'll be on a podcast that's owned by somebody in the UK, and I have people connecting with me. They're like, "Oh, I heard you on that podcast," and that
Yes.
person lives in the UK, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I have, people listening to my podcast in countries where the primary language is not English.
That is fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
really great.
Cool.
So, it's wild. Okay, 4th reason,
Mhm.
getting more clients. And so this is where the shortening the sales cycle
Yeah,
comes in.
I can totally
When
see
people have listened for a while,
that. Mhm.
see that you are a subject matter expert and
Mhm.
decide they want to reach out about working with you or joining one of your groups or, buying a product if you sell products.
Right.
It significantly shortens the sales cycle because they feel like they already know you and
Mhm.
they do want to say yes.
Mhm.
Again, you're not going to get yeses across the board,
Of
but
course.
more people who come to you are
Yeah.
going to say yes
Yeah,
since they
that
already
makes
know you.
that is such a great point, and it's so it's such common sense.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, "Duh, Tracy, that why didn't you think of that?" But, I'm not the podcast expert, that's why
Yep.
you're the expert.
Yeah, but
What
that
is
one is just
number 5?
huge, and so many guests that I've had on my show who are also podcast hosts
Mhm.
across the board say that podcasting is a top way that they get new clients.
That that is that you're really making me wanna start this really
Yep,
sooner.
yep. Awesome, I'd love to see you have a podcast.
What's
All
reason
right,
number 5? Or benefit
and
number 5?
yep. And finally, you will build your network through collaborations,
Mhm.
referrals, and advocates. Now, this happens when you have guests on your show and when you attend podcasting conferences or join podcasting groups, on Facebook or other platforms.
Right.
The podcasting community is just about the most generous community I have ever known.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I just attended Podfest, the largest podcasting conference in the world,
Uh-huh.
and that was just a couple weeks ago in Orlando. Amazing.
Mhm.
Excellent learning sessions, educational sessions, but meeting other people and having that community is so powerful, and developing the collaborations,
Mhm.
the referrals.
Mhm.
It's I just cannot say enough about that.
I love
So, developing those relationships with other podcasters, and if you have guests on your show, you don't have to. It can
it.
be just a solo show. But
Mhm.
if you have guests on your show, or when you reach out to other podcast hosts with questions, they answer. We wanna help each other.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Awesome. So, okay, give us some tactical, tangible. So let's say I've decided to do mine, and other people that are listening have decided to do theirs. Give us the how, a couple of pieces of the how. How is this going to grow our business? Because right now we're thinking, okay, cool, we're going to create this thing, but then, like, I
right.
know that
How
people are
does
going
it
to be
work?
warmed. Yeah, give us some of the how.
Okay. So let's talk about like brand awareness, building your brand awareness. And I said that that happens over time.
Right.
So the first thing I recommend against using your own name as the name of your podcast,
Okay.
because unless you already have a huge following,
Uh,
when people go to search for podcast like topics in
mhm.
a podcast app. So if I open up Apple Podcasts, which is what I use, your name isn't going to come up if someone is looking for a podcast on marketing,
Okay.
right? S-
Interesting.
Yeah. So you want your podcast to come up as a suggested show,
Got it.
but you can put your name in the title.
Okay.
So my title is Podcast Launchpad with Angela Kelly Smith. So
Okay.
it's all there in the official title.
Got it.
And if you don't want your name in the official title, put it on the cover art. So it doesn't have to be
Got it.
part of the title, but
Okay.
you absolutely want it on the cover art.
Got it. So your name can be part of the title or on the cover art, but
Yeah.
not the Tracy Beaver show.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. If you're Mel Robbins,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Right. But even Amy Porterfield,
Right.
it just says online marketing made easy
Right.
with Amy Porterfield and her pictures there.
Yes.
But okay. Yeah, that's a really good point. Awesome.
Yes. And for an informational podcast, it is great to have your picture there so
Mhm.
that then you start to get face recognition as well.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they meet me in a Facebook group and then they go there, then they go, yeah, okay, cool. I got the right gal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it is ideal to have a podcast name that is totally unique,
Okay.
but it's better to have, or okay, not better. If you can't come up with a name that is 100% unique,
Hmm.
then you'll have one that is 100% clear about what the podcast is about.
Okay.
And so at that point, yes, having your photo on the cover art
Hmm.
makes it really clear to someone that, okay, this is Tracy's.
Okay.
Even though the name of it is similar to another one,
Uh-huh.
then
Right.
that person is clear that that one is yours.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So with promoting your expertise,
Hmm.
that is, really clear how you're going to do that. You are going to create episodes on very specific topics
Okay.
that give your ideal listener exactly what they are looking for.
Okay.
So 36% of people
Hmm.
surveyed say they can't find episodes on topics they're looking for.
Okay.
That's
Interesting.
amazing.
Yeah.
There are something like 4 million podcasts out there.
Hmm.
And so millions and millions and millions of episodes. Now, only about 350 to 400,000 podcasts are active. That means currently creating new episodes.
That was a question I had because there's so many people that start them, but then they get
Quit.
podcast fatigue and they just fade away.
Pod
So,
fade.
yeah,
Right.
pod fade. So if somebody says to you, "Well, it's saturated,"
Nope.
that's your answer for it. Is like, okay, it looks like there's 4 million of them, but there's really only a couple 100,000 that are doing anything.
Right. And do
Okay.
you know how many blogs there are?
Oh,
Tens of millions. Podcasts make up only about 0.1% of the total number of blogs.
okay. Wow. I didn't
Mhm.
know that either. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Massive room
The
for
longer
growth.
we talk, the longer I'm like, okay, this weekend I gotta launch my
And I
podcast.
don't know how many podcasts compared to YouTube
Oh my
channels.
goodness.
Yeah,
God.
way fewer as well. Way
Well,
fewer.
am I wrong in thinking that once you create the podcast, you can very easily just repurpose the content for YouTube?
And I do. I shoot video while I'm recording my episodes, whether it's an interview or solo. I've
Mhm.
got video going for my solo episodes as well,
Right,
and I
right.
post them on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you don't have to. For anyone
Right,
for whom that feels overwhelming, it's like, "Oh my god, you're asking me to do a podcast and now you want me to add video to it." You don't have to.
right, right.
You could set that as a goal for one day or never. It's okay. The
Mhm.
good thing about the video is that you can use clips for social media.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yep.
Yep,
But it's not a requirement.
got it.
Podcasts are audio, and that's when people tend to listen to them, is the audio
Got
while
it.
doing household chores and commuting and walking the dog. Yeah.
Got it. This is a question I know they've got on their mind because I teach email list growth strategies and visibility. I know the answer, but I want you to tell them, how can your podcast grow your email list?
Great question. Okay. So you will have show notes or episode notes for each episode, giving a snippet of what the episode is about, being very clear about what it's about.
Okay.
And you will have a link in the episode notes back to the episode post on your website.
Okay. Okay.
So that takes them to your website.
Okay.
And then ideally, you'll have a pop-up,
Okay.
to get on for your lead magnet. So that'll happen.
Okay.
Now, a second really powerful thing I like to do. Now, you do not do this frequently,
Okay.
but you do it for select episodes. You have an episode specific lead magnet
Yes.
just for that episode. So I've done that a few times. So I did one when I was talking about creating a content calendar, like filling out a content calendar for 12 weeks. It's only 12 episodes for most people doing one a
Right.
week. I do 3 a week. So I put a lead magnet on that episode
Mhm.
where they could download a content calendar that they
Yeah.
could fill out.
Yeah. We want to use a call to action on the show
Yes,
notes that
exactly.
says either go to the website and then you have the pop up,
Exactly.
or a specific free download. So I started doing that back in October, I think it was. And it can be a lot, but I did a free download for every live training, and we're going to keep trying to do that,
Yep.
specifically because I wanted my live video to grow my email list. So, and I got that idea from one of Amy Porterfield's podcast episodes. She said,
Yep.
it's a lot of work, but you could put a free download with, and if you already have a lead magnet created that corresponds with what you're talking about, then you don't have to create a new one. You could just use that one.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. It's
Okay,
perfect.
cool.
Yep.
Okay. I know this is what everybody's asking. How do we get started? Like, give us the simple, I'm all about building with ease. Tell me how to do this without overwhelming myself.
Okay. I'm not going to tell you right now okay, I can. I don't want to, I'm not going to jump in and say, here's the equipment you need to do. Here's the hosting provider. That's the easy stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it gets overwhelming because you go do all this Googling, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I mean, with my students and clients, I tell them, here are your teeny tiny options and pick from these, because my whole goal is to get people to stop Googling.
Oh,
You know?
Yes.
Stop Googling.
Yes.
Pick someone you trust
and go
and do what they tell you to do.
Right.
Just stop it.
I agree.
So here are the really important things you need to do before you start a podcast.
Okay.
Number one, understand why you want to start it. So how is it going to contribute to your business? And we just talked about all of that here. Right. So how is it going to fit into your marketing strategy plan? And beyond that, for me, the number one goal of your podcast should be to help your listeners.
I was just thinking that, because if your goal is money, it's not going to fly.
You're going to experience pod fade. You will lose momentum.
Well, plus, I think people can feel that.
Yes.
If you're just using this for your selfish purposes,
right?
It's like with anything else I believe in. If I lead with my heart and I lead from a place of service and helping other people, then that's going to come back to me at some point.
Yes,
love that.
Exactly. Listeners feel it.
Yeah.
You have got to make a listener-centric show. Okay. Then your listeners feel that. They know that you are putting them first all the time. All the time.
Got it.
From the name of your show to the cover art to to the description to every single episode. You are always keeping the listener in mind, and it comes across. And that is the way you turn just casual listeners into an active audience. And I'm going through, this is Pat Flynn's super fans pyramid.
Yeah.
To a connected community, and ideally one day to super fans.
Yes.
Okay. Keeping the listener in mind with everything you do.
Love it.
So the second thing you do is fairly simply, but maybe, decide what your podcast is going to be about, being as specific as you can. What I mean by that is you can't just do a health podcast or a marketing podcast, for example.
Right.
You've got to pick something with it, because nobody is an expert on gut health and menopause and immune health, So you need to pick one thing within health. And with marketing, no one is an expert on traditional marketing and online marketing. And, you can niche down within those as well. You marketing for massive companies or for freelancers, solopreneurs, small businesses.
Right.
So you need to get really specific within the concept, your podcast concept.
Got it.
And third, related to that, and people are going to bristle at this.
Okay, lay it on us.
Just like you have a business niche, you got to pick a podcast niche.
Yeah, that's difficult. It's scary. But I agree with you completely. After all my years in business, when I first started, I didn't want to niche down. I just wanted to be a business and sales coach, but my message was diluted.
Yep.
And people couldn't see themselves in my messaging because it wasn't specific enough.
Right.
So yes, as scary as it is, and as much as I just went, I agree
Yep.
with you.
But
Yeah.
what happens when you try to appeal to everyone?
You talk to nobody.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing with your podcast.
Yep, that makes perfect sense.
So what makes up a podcast niche? What makes up any niche? But so here's specifically a podcast niche.
Mhm.
It's what your show's about. It's your ideal listener. So you're
Okay.
going to need to figure out your ideal listener avatar.
Mhm.
And that's easy with a business-based podcast. Your ideal listener avatar can be the same as your ideal client avatar.
True. Yes.
And the third piece of your podcast niche is, what problem does your show help them solve?
Okay.
So then you've got your XYZ niche statement,
Mhm.
and you use that in your podcast description. That's your podcast elevator pitch.
Got it.
And it's very, very clear. So for me, the Podcast Launchpad helps women entrepreneurs use podcasting as a marketing tool to boost their authority, expand their audience, and get more clients.
That is super like, I know exactly what you do.
Yep.
And I can see myself in that message.
Yep.
I can say, yes, that's for me. Or I can say, no, that's not for me, which is what we want people to do.
Right.
As scary as it is, we don't want to, we want everybody to be happy and love us and want to be with us, but we're not going to be for everybody.
Right. And when you have a tight niche like that, and even you're telling, so let's say I'm telling a man who is not an entrepreneur what my show is about. Well, he may know a woman entrepreneur who would be interested in this.
Yeah.
If I just said, oh, I have a podcast about podcasting.
Boring. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then you're like, well, yeah, no, exactly. No, I wouldn't listen to that.
Exactly. All right. And the last thing is pick an awesome name for your show.
Right.
And as we talked about earlier, clear is better than clever unless you can do both.
Right.
Don't use your name as the name of the show. You can put it in. So Podcast Launchpad with Angela Kelly Smith. Make sure you're using at least one good keyword in there. It's ideal if it could come first. So Podcast Launchpad.
Got it.
And it's best not to use the word "the" as the first name. So I originally started out with the Podcast Launchpad.
Right.
But when someone goes to search something with podcast in there, mine was not going to come up easily with the word "the" at the beginning.
Okay. That's just, yeah.
Little tip there.
Okay. That's a massive tip.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Okay.
So you can use, and then you need to get used to saying it, like telling people. So what's the name of your podcast? Podcast Launchpad.
Right. Just practice it over and over.
Because otherwise they'll go search it with the word "the" in there.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Even if it sounds a little bit awkward, you'll get used to it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a couple of selfish questions I want to ask, and then I want to get to everybody else's questions that are in the comments because they've got some great questions. I'm seeing them.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is totally selfish and for me, but hopefully there's other people out there that want to know this. When you're just starting out and you're on a budget, what is the microphone you would recommend for a budget start compared to when you have a baby podcast and you're just starting, compared to when you're in your 300th or 400th episode and you know this thing's got legs and it's working and you want to upgrade?
Absolutely. My number one recommendation for a starter mic is the Samson, Samson, Q2U.
Okay.
Its sound is excellent. I adore how it sounds.
Okay.
And so when I bought mine, it was only $55. I've seen it range up to $69. But it's well under $100.
Gift.
Exactly.
If somebody said, what do you want for your birthday? I'd be like, I'm this microphone.
Right. It's a handheld mic, but it comes with a tripod. It
Okay.
also comes with a mesh pop filter, which you need to block plosives, p and b sounds.
Okay.
So it's an all-in-one thing. It's a USB mic, so it plugs right into your computer.
Easy.
Though it also comes with an XLR cable. So if
Okay.
you wanted to upgrade it, you could eventually buy an external audio interface and go through it.
Okay.
But
No idea what you
all you
just
it's
asked.
fine. All you need is the USB.
Okay, good.
You do not have to wait to get to episode 300, 400, whatever to upgrade to a
I know.
pro grade
I'm
mic.
just thinking when you're just starting out and
For
you're not
sure.
sure this thing's gonna last.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, Samsung Q2U starter mic, I highly recommend it over the Blue Yeti. If
Okay,
yeah,
interesting, because everybody's all about the Blue Yeti, and I've heard good and bad, and I just didn't know what to think. Good. Okay, awesome. And so
I
what's the
love the
more
Blue Yeti. I
expensive
mean, I
one?
love the Samsung Q2. I used to use a Blue Yeti,
Mhm.
and I recently did a comparison between it, Samsung Q2U, and my
Mhm.
Shure MV7.
Yeah.
Also compared it to using my wired earbuds,
Uh-huh.
and I did a whole episode on this, and just your computer mic, it's dramatic how
Wow,
different they
okay.
all are. But the
Okay.
Samsung Q2U is remarkably close to the Shure SHURE MV7,
Okay.
which is priced between 260 and 300.
So that's the fancy pants one. If
Fancy
you
pants one.
Okay, got it. So that's
Yes.
the one that you could buy and never have to buy another one?
Right.
And say it again. It was Sure what was it?
Shure MV7.
Okay,
And
Sure.
Shure is spelled SHURE.
Okay,
It's
okay.
fabulous.
All right.
Fabulous mic.
And I'm just gonna say for everybody out in the audience, if you're wanting to connect with Kelly, go to my friends list or be in the Facebook group. Kelly's in the group. Friend her. You can send her a DM, and I'm sure she would send you. I'm sure you've got an Amazon affiliate link where we could buy this stuff, and we would be able to benefit you, right?
It's not an affiliate link. I have it donate to my local food pantry.
I love that. I didn't know you could do that. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we need to wrap this up. We need to get to the questions because fun fact, I just heard my husband come home for lunch and he and the dog are probably waiting down the hallway
Oh
to get.
goodness.
So, and I know we're going overtime, which is absolutely fine because everybody's loving this. So excited to learn about podcasting. Tina's here, fantastic. Um, a lot of people are showing up as Facebook user, but that's okay. And Jill popped a waitlist link in there. Okay. Craig's here. Awesome. Diana's here. Awesome. Okay, let me get to the questions. Somebody said they just launched one in January, but I can't see your name. Somebody else said, I plan to start a podcast this year. Okay, I don't know whose name that is
Okay.
because it says Facebook user,
Okay.
but definitely whoever you are, connect with Kelly and we're going to tell you why here in just a second. We were talking before I pushed the live button about the ways that we can work with her and the offers that she's got. Let's see. Love listening to podcasts while driving, cooking, cleaning. Yep. Multitasking. Everybody's saying how great this is. Passive listening, yes. And Kelly says she listens to it when she has to write something. Kelly, your brain must work way better than mine. Oh my goodness. And everybody's agreeing about Chat GPT. They're like, don't get me started. It's not, the human element's not there. Okay. Oh, and the statistics, they were blown away by those. Let me see if there's any. Okay. Can you mention the how-to of where you host a podcast? So
Sure.
real quick, Kelly, give us a couple of places. Like, is it Libsyn? Is it Buzzsprout?
I'll give you my two favorites.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. The one that I use to host 4 podcasts is Captivate.
Okay.
So you can host more than, I know you're just starting, but you can host more than one on the same account without paying more money.
Okay.
And the reason that is something you may want to consider is because you may want to have your main public free podcast.
Yep.
And for your business, then later you may want to consider a private one that people have to pay for.
Well, and a private one also. So some of the courses I've purchased, like
Right.
Digital Course Academy, Amy Porterfield has a private podcast for students only.
It's free.
Would that be like
Yes.
Captivate? I could have the business podcast, and then I could have all of my business visibility made easy modules on a podcast, and I
Yes.
could do it there.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Now with one of their plans, you get only one private podcast and as many public ones as you want.
Got
And
it.
then you can upgrade to a higher plan to get more than
Cool.
than one private one.
Okay.
Because I love Captivate. They have so many other features that other hosting providers don't have, and I won't go into them because we don't have time.
Right.
My other top recommendation is Buzzsprout.
I've heard
They're
good
also
things about
excellent.
Buzzsprout.
I'm gonna name a third one because it's free,
Okay.
Anchor. I've never tried it before, but I hear people like it, and it's free.
Okay, somebody asked, is a great question. How many hours a week does it take? And do you edit all this stuff yourself?
Okay.
And I
So
don't know if we have time to go into all of it, but
no, I'll be very quick.
Yeah.
You should not be working on your podcast every week except to promote it on social media and in your email.
Okay.
You need to batch it. So you would do more than one episode at a time.
Okay.
And edit, if you're doing the editing yourself, edit more than one episode at a time, so that, let's say this week you're getting out 3 episodes. So that would be next week's, the week, the following, and the week after that.
Okay.
And so then you're not doing it again for, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks. And I like to schedule out more than 3 weeks in advance.
Okay. And the
So
other thing that batching does for you, if I'm not mistaken, one thing I had heard about a year ago was you want to get about 8 episodes in the can so that you're like 8 episodes ahead.
Yep.
That way, if you need to go on vacation or you get sick or something like that. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, and do I do the editing myself or someone else? I have done it both ways. I tend to do it myself, and I also do monthly management for other people. So I edit. Yeah.
Good to know. Somebody said, I'm debating launching a podcast that is audio only versus video, like video to repurpose content on YouTube, LinkedIn Live, but is it way more work to do video versus audio? Also, if you use video for your podcast, does it impact listeners' ability to just multitask and get that 80% of show engagement? Why is YouTube video any different? Can someone just listen while doing house? Okay, that's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So video does not take more time to edit if you use an editing program like Descript.
Okay.
Descript is excellent. You edit the video, export the video as one file, and then export the audio as a separate file. Fabulous.
Okay.
Also, you edit the text. It transcribes it automatically.
Okay.
You edit the text. You can audit the waveform like traditional software.
Yeah.
And you'll need to do that occasionally, but on the whole, you edit the text. Fascinating. It's fabulous.
Okay.
You will always want to produce the audio. It is an audio first show. The video is a supplement to the audio. So I do put my videos on YouTube, and then I bring that embed code to my website, to the post on my website, and I put it there. It's just an addition. I haven't even really promoted my YouTube channel, so there's like no one there. But I do it for the future, and I do it for these social media clips in video.
Okay. I'm just going to run through these really fast. The ideal length of a podcast episode, I think we talked about 20 to 40
20
minutes.
to 40 is the most popular.
Got it. And then how long does it take to build a significant audience if you're podcasting weekly? That might be kind of tough to answer.
It is very tough to answer. It totally depends on your niche and what podcast category you're in. One of my students became a top 3. She hit number 3 in the United States in her category in her second week of release.
Wow.
Highly, highly unusual. Very, very tight niche. Her show is called the Doodle Pro Podcast.
That's Corinne. I know Corinne. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. I hope she might be here. I hope so.
It's the doodle breed dog. Very tight niche. Beautiful niche.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. And if you are going for, like marketing, there's so many marketing podcasts out there. Unless you already have a massive following, that's going to take longer. Doodle Dog Breeds, hers is the only podcast out there specifically for doodle parents.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So she filled a gap that was wide open.
Got it. Okay. Real quick. What are your top 3 ways, highest return on investment ways to drive traffic to grow your podcast audience?
Oof.
I don't know if we have enough time. If we don't, you can pop into the comments there and answer that question.
Okay.
In the Facebook group.
Being a guest on other people's podcast is a great way to do it. Sharing on social media with video frequently.
Okay.
and doing an excellent pre-launch promotion.
Okay. And those are things you help people do.
Yeah.
You help us figure all that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, one more question. Is there a best day of the week to release podcast
No.
episodes? I think I know the answer. Okay, that's what I was going to say.
Monday through Friday.
Okay. But
Yep.
isn't the key to it to be consistent so that
Yes.
they know, kind of like I do live every Thursday, my
Yep.
audience knows Thursday 11:30 is their
Exactly.
time with me. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Goodness sake. Okay, let me get to the special thing you have for everybody. I am so excited about it. Kelly, tell them about the 20% off any service that you're offering, how it works, what they're going to get with that, what it's at.
So I have the Women Podcasters Academy. It's a membership with full course on how to start your own podcast from idea through tips on monetization.
Okay.
And the community part is we meet live twice a month, and the third Tuesday of every month, if there, I mean, not third, the fifth, if there is a fifth week, fifth
Mhm.
Tuesday of that month, you get access to me in the live sessions. It's spot coaching, Q&A,
Mhm.
and you also get access to me through DMs and emails. That is $49 a month. You get 20% off through this Sunday if you
Okay.
use Tracy's name, just TRACY, all caps, as the discount code
Okay.
during checkout.
Awesome.
And I do one-on-one podcast launching and monthly management. So the monthly management, we would start your podcast first, but the one-on-one podcast launching is I am hands-on. I
Mhm.
walk you through or collaborate with you to create your podcast from scratch. I edit your trailer and your first 3 episodes and load those onto your podcast hosting provider, get everything set up for you, and
Mhm.
you would get 20% off of that too right on my website.
Love it. Okay, I just popped. Oh, Jill is so good. I should have known she was ready and prepared. My assistant Jill is amazing. So I popped the link in there in the promo code, and
Great.
Jill did it too. So everybody should have it now.
Awesome.
I This has been so great, Kelly. Oh my gosh. And you guys, if you have more questions, keep them coming. Because I will see the questions as they come in, and then I can tag Kelly. You can connect with her, DM her, whatever. Let's tell her how amazing this was and how much we appreciate this, because I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit more fired up about getting this podcast off the
I
ground.
hope so.
And I
Thank you.
feel like I could actually have the confidence to do it if I have somebody like you in my corner.
Oh, well, thank you. I just love helping people start their own podcasts. I am so passionate about this because it is such a powerful way
Yeah.
to get your message out there, to get your name out there, and to provide real value to
Yeah.
your audience.
And that's what it's all about. It's just
Yes.
providing that value and helping people. The
Yes.
money will come. The money can come. It always does.
Yep.
Okay, my friends. Oh my gosh. I say this every week. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. And if you think you're alone, I am here to remind you, you are not. Doesn't matter if you're on day 1, hour 1, or you're 15 years in and you're making $40 million a year. Everybody feels the same way about the entrepreneurial roller coaster. And so you can come into my Facebook group, be a confident entrepreneur, get visible, grow your income. You can promote your offers. You can ask questions. You can have a bad day in our group and we will support you. You can have a great day in our group and we will cheer you on. Whatever you need, that's the community that I have created for you, and I want you to be a part of it. So if you're not in the Facebook group, jump in and join us. Again, be a confident entrepreneur, get visible, and grow your income. I want you all to have a great balance of the week and weekend. And remember, when one of us rises, we all rise. So we've got to keep cheering for each other. And Kelly, thank you again for being here. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Tracy. I really appreciate it. This was awesome.
All right, we'll see you guys next week, next Thursday at 11:30 Central.